Hello everybody. Today let's read Caillou Gets the Hiccups. Caillou and his family were enjoying a spaghetti dinner. Yum, spaghetti is my favourite, Caillou said. That's good, Caillou, Mummy said. Please try not to slurp when you eat. It was very hard to eat the spaghetti without slurping. While Caillou was trying not to slurp, he made a noise. Hiccup. Uh-oh, sounds like you've got the hiccups, Daddy said. The hiccups? How do I stop them? Caillou asked. Hiccups usually go away on their own, Mummy said. Caillou waited a minute. Hiccup. Hey, I waited, but they didn't go away. You have to wait longer than that, Mummy explained. Why not play in the living room? Caillou built a tower out of blocks while he waited, but a hiccup made him knock over the tower. How's it going out there? Mummy asked. These hiccups are messing up everything. Hiccup! I need them to go away, Caillou said. Sometimes hiccups can be cured by giving someone a scare, Mummy said. A scare? Caillou said. Just a little scare. It makes the person gasp and the hiccups go away. Do you want to give it a try? Mummy asked. If it'll make my hiccups go away, then okay. Hiccup, Caillou said. Mummy spread her arms out and floated like a ghost, and then jumped at Caillou. Boo, Mummy said. Hey, it worked, Caillou said. Hiccup. Oh, it's not working, Caillou said. I don't think my hiccups are the kind that get scared away. Hiccup. Good thing I'm here then, Daddy said. I'm the world's #1 all-time hiccup cure champion. Come on, I'll show you. Caillou and Daddy head outside. Some people cure hiccups by drinking water really fast from a hose. It can get a little messy, Daddy said. I don't care. Hiccup, I want to try. Daddy turned on the water. Caillou tried to drink from the hose, but most of it sprayed all around. Hiccup, it didn't work, Caillou said. Daddy turned the hose off. Don't worry, Caillou, I've got another cure up my sleeve, Daddy said. The upside-down solution always works. Daddy made Caillou do a handstand. While he was upside down, Daddy held Caillou's feet for balance. Hiccups all gone? Rosie asked. Caillou hiccuped, then shook his head no. There's one more thing we can try. Daddy wasn't giving up. Let's go inside. I've saved the best for last, Daddy said. This is sure to get rid of your hiccups. What is it? Hiccup, Caillou asked eagerly. You hop on your left foot, then rub your head with your right hand, Daddy explained, showing Caillou. Caillou thought Daddy looked silly hopping around, and so did Mummy and Rosie. Caillou really wanted to get rid of his hiccups, so he started hopping too. That's it, Caillou, Daddy said. Hop those hiccups away. Caillou stopped and said dramatically, I'm still hiccuping. What if I have them forever? Hiccup, and ever and ever. Maybe I'll have to stop making spaghetti dinners, Mummy said, shaking her head. Caillou gasped. But spaghetti's my favourite, and Rosie's, and Daddy's too, Caillou said. It wasn't the spaghetti that gave me the hiccups. I know it wasn't. And besides, I think they're gone. Listen. Caillou was right. His hiccups had gone away. Perhaps I scared them away by saying I wouldn't make spaghetti anymore, Mummy suggested. No, I think they went away on their own, just like you said they would. But are you really going to stop making spaghetti? Caillou asked in a very serious tone. Of course not, Caillou. I was just teasing, Mummy assured him. Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a story about Caillou from this storybook treasury. Let's have a look inside and see which story we're going to choose. Let's read Caillou at the market. Caillou at the market. There he is. Caillou doesn't want to get out of bed. Look, says Daddy, it's snowing. Caillou runs to look out the window. Wow! Can we make a snowman? Let's get dressed first, Daddy tells him. Then we'll see. Caillou tries to pour his cereal, but nothing comes out. There's no cereal, he tells Mummy. We'll get some at the market, she says. There she is, feeding Caillou's little sister. We have to shop for things to make a special surprise cake. A cake, yay! Shouts Caillou. Caillou puts on his coat and boots. Outside, the snowflakes tickle his face. He sticks out his tongue and catches some of them. It makes him laugh. Can we make a snowman? Yes, Caillou, Mummy answers. But we have to go to market first. When they get to the market, Mummy puts Rosie in the seat of the grocery cart. Caillou wants to go for a ride too. Mummy lifts him in the cart. Let's go. We have lots of shopping to do. Caillou and Rosie help Mummy find the things she needs. Caillou takes a bag of cookies off the shelf. These are good, he says. We're having a special surprise cake, Mummy reminds him. So we don't need cookies too. Caillou really wants the cookies, but he puts them back. What a good boy he is. At the checkout counter, Mummy helps Caillou and Rosie get out of the cart. Caillou, she says, please watch Rosie for me. Caillou holds Rosie's hand, but he's thinking about the cookies. He decides to go and get them. Caillou goes up and down the aisles, looking for the cookies. Suddenly, he stops and looks around. He can't see Mummy. Caillou is lost. Mummy, cries Caillou. Where are you, Mummy? There she is. Mummy looks worried. What happened, Caillou? You went away, Caillou sobs. No, you went away, says Mummy. She gives him a big hug. But I'm very glad we found you. Let's go home. Caillou says, Mummy, I was lost. I know, Caillou says Mummy, but you're home now and it's time to make the special surprise cake. But I want to make a snowman, says Caillou. You can see the snow looks still through the window. But Caillou's Mummy started to mix the cake. Mummy smiles. We will make a snowman here in the kitchen. Mummy bakes the cake and covers it with snowy white icing. Caillou and Rosie decorate it with candy. Look, says Caillou happily. The special surprise cake is a special surprise snowman.
Today we're going to read a Caillou story where he dances with Grandma. Caillou was spending a rainy day at Grandma's. He drove his mini car around the coffee table. Vroom, vroom, beep, beep. Oops, Caillou knocked a big book off the table and it fell open on the floor. Caillou was curious about the pictures in the book. He sat down to take a look. "I see you found my photo album," Grandma said, coming into the room. "Who's that, Grandma?" Caillou asked, pointing to a picture. "That's your grandpa and me, and we were young when we were young," Grandma replied. Caillou looked at the photo again. "That's not you and Grandpa," Caillou laughed. Grandma laughed too. This picture was taken a long time ago. Your grandpa and I used to dance a lot. Caillou turned the page and something fell out of the album. "Oh, it's our blue ribbon," Grandma said. "The night that picture was taken, there was a big dance contest," Grandma said, "and this is the ribbon your grandpa and I won." "Wow, first prize!" Caillou was very impressed. "Do you want me to show you how to dance?" Grandma asked. "Yes, I can win first prize too," Caillou said. Grandma put on some music. This was one of our favourite songs. Caillou hadn't heard music like this before, but he liked the quick rhythm. "Look, Grandma, I'm dancing!" Caillou laughed as he hopped from one foot to another. "That's good, Grandma. That's good, Caillou," Grandma said. "Here, take my hands." Caillou loved dancing with Grandma. He was having a lot of fun. "All you have to do is listen to the music," Grandma said. Then Grandma showed Caillou some complicated steps. Caillou tried to follow and stumbled. Laughing, Caillou stood up and said, "Watch this, Grandma." Caillou jiggled his hips from side to side. "I think you just made up a new dance," Grandma said, "and for being such a good dancer, you win first prize." Grandma pinned the blue ribbon onto Caillou's shirt. Grandpa came home. "Hi, you two," Grandpa said. "It looks like someone's been getting dance lessons." "Grandma showed me how," Caillou said, and started to dance for Grandpa. "That's great," Grandpa said, and he took Caillou's hands. Grandma watched as her two men danced around the room. Just then the doorbell rang. "It's Mummy!" Caillou ran off to answer the door. "Look, I got first prize for dancing," Caillou said proudly. Then he showed everyone a little dance he had learned. Rosie cheered and laughed. Rosie too. Caillou and Rosie danced their way into the living room. Everyone gathered in the living room for a snack. "Mummy, did you know that Grandma and Grandpa used to dance a lot?" Caillou said excitedly. "And they won a ribbon for first prize for dancing." "Really?" Mummy said, surprised. "Yes, and Grandma and Grandpa are really good dancers. Grandma showed me their special dance." Caillou continued to explain. Grandpa had an idea, and he put the music on again. "May I have this dance, miss?" he asked Grandma. "You may, sir," she replied. Together they showed everyone the dance that had won them first prize all those years ago. That's them now, and that's them in the photo. Hello everybody. we're going to read Caillou Learns to Swim. The family was spending the day at the pool. Daddy was already in the water waiting for Caillou. "I'm right here, Caillou," Daddy said, holding his arms open. He's waiting for him. The water was deep and dark. Caillou looked around nervously. He could barely see the bottom of the pool. Caillou stuck one foot in the water and shivered. "Brr," he said. "Are you coming in, Caillou?" Daddy asked. Caillou wasn't sure. "Look, Daddy, it's shiny over there," Caillou said, pointing to the other side of the pool. When Daddy looked, Caillou ran away to the wading pool where Mummy and Rosie were sitting. "Whee!" he said, and he jumped in. Rosie laughed and Mummy protected her face from the splashing water. Daddy finished his swim and went over to the wading pool. "Daddy," Rosie said, "maybe next time you'll come in the big pool with me," Daddy said, winking at Caillou. "Okay," Caillou said, awkwardly. That night, Mummy tucked Caillou into bed and said, "Remember the big pool?" "Yes," Caillou answered. "It was pretty big, wasn't it?" Mummy said. "I guess so," Caillou said. "Would you like Daddy to teach you to swim?" Mummy asked. "Oh, yes," Caillou exclaimed. A few days later, Caillou had his first swimming lesson. He loved being in the water and learning to swim. After just a few lessons, he was less afraid and he was getting better and better. "Swim over to me, Caillou," Daddy said. "I can do it," Caillou said. "I know you can," Daddy said encouragingly. Caillou was still walking a little on the bottom of the pool, but he was moving his arms the right way. "I'm swimming, Daddy, I'm swimming," Caillou said. He was very excited. Caillou wanted to swim and dive, just like the big boys and girls. After a little break, Daddy asked, "Do you want to go back in the water?" "Yes, I can swim now, Daddy," Caillou said. "Come in and watch me." He and Daddy got into the pool. Caillou pushed off the bottom and put his arms out and kicked his way towards his daddy. "That's it, hold your arms out, just like I showed you," Daddy said. See Caillou swimming. Caillou walked on the bottom of the pool again, but very soon he was swimming all by himself. "That's it, Caillou," Daddy said. I'm swimming, see, Daddy?" "Yes, I'm right here," Daddy said. "Go, Caillou, you can do it." "Look at me, I'm swimming," glub, glub, Caillou said, splashing wildly. Suddenly Caillou was afraid, but his daddy was not far away. "It's okay, Caillou, come this way," Daddy reassured him. "Take it easy, swim to me, just like you did before." Caillou calmed down when he heard his daddy's voice and swam toward him. "That was a bit scary, wasn't it?" Daddy said, holding Caillou in his arms. "But you knew I was there, didn't you?" "Yes, Daddy," Caillou said. "You know what?" Daddy exclaimed. "You were really swimming all by yourself." "I was, wasn't I?" Caillou said. "I am very proud of you. I knew you could do it." Today we're going to read a story about Caillou from his storybook treasury. And I think today we'll read the Favorite T-Shirt. Favorite T-Shirt. Catch the car, Teddy. Caillou had made up a new game. He was rolling his toy cars down a ramp made out of a long board. Rosie walked into the room pulling her toy ducky on a string. Can I play? She asked. OK, said Caillou. He turned to his little sister and saw that she was wearing a T-shirt with teddy bears on it. No, shouted Caillou, that's my T-shirt. Take it off, it's mine. He was very upset. Mummy came when she heard Caillou shouting. She tried to explain why Rosie was wearing Caillou's favourite T-shirt. Caillou, that T-shirt is too small for you, so I gave it to Rosie. Caillou was so angry he was not listening to Mummy. It's not Rosie's, it's mine, said Caillou, with tears in his eyes. OK, said Mummy. Rosie, let's go put on a different T-shirt. Caillou put on his teddy bear T-shirt, but it wasn't easy. He had to wriggle and squirm like a caterpillar. Ow, he said, as his ears got stuck in the neck of the shirt. Finally, Caillou said happily, See, it's not too small. He marched around the room with his bare tummy showing. Rosie thought Caillou looked very funny. Maybe he was playing a new game. She ran up to her brother and tickled his tummy. Coochie-coo, she said, giggling. Stop that, said Caillou. He knew that the T-shirt covered his tummy when he used to wear it. Caillou stretched out to play with his cars, but his back got cold and the carpet made him feel itchy. Caillou went to his room. He didn't want to play with his cars any more. He was too sad to do anything but sit with Teddy. Why did the T-shirt have to get too small? Mummy came in and sat down beside Caillou. He had a photo album that she opened. Here's a picture of you on your 2nd birthday, she said. You look so cute and happy in your teddy bear T-shirt. Caillou looked at the picture. He nodded and said, That's when I was little. I had my teddy shirt. Mummy understood why Caillou felt sad. Caillou, I'm sorry I gave your T-shirt to Rosie, she said. I forgot how much you loved it. But now it's yours again. Even if you don't wear it, you can keep it as long as you want. Caillou still loved his T-shirt. It was so soft and cosy, but he knew he had grown too big to wear it. Caillou looked down at Teddy. Suddenly he knew what to do. I'm going to give it to Teddy, he said with a happy smile. Good idea, Caillou, said Mummy. She smiled too as Caillou took off his favourite T-shirt and put it on his teddy bear. It fits perfectly. Rosie came in and saw Teddy wearing the T-shirt. Teddy looks great, she giggled. He's happy. Me too, said Caillou. He laughed and hugged Teddy in his teddy bear T-shirt. That's a big hug. And that's the end. Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a Caillou story from his storybook treasury. Let's have a look and see which book we're going to read today. I think we'll read The Picnic. The Picnic. Caillou and his friend Leo were playing in the back seat of the car. Outside, the sky was cloudy and the wind twisted the branches of the trees into strange shapes. The two boys were excited because they were on their way to the woods for a picnic. but it was taking so long to get there. "We're almost there, kids," Mummy finally said. "Look, there's the parking lot." As soon as Daddy parked the car, Caillou and Leo jumped out and put on their backpacks. Oh, look. They looked up and saw the clouds racing across the sky. They spotted the picnic tables far in the distance. Mummy helped Caillou's baby sister, Rosie, out of the car while Daddy got the picnic things out of the trunk. Where were the picnic tables? Ah, there. Like explorers, the group headed into the woods. They walked single file along a winding path. The tall trees were filled with birds calling out to each other. Caillou and Leo were wide-eyed with excitement as they led the way. The fresh air smelt so good. All of a sudden, they stopped. It was so quiet. They felt like they were all alone in the forest. "It's like the forest in your storybook about brave knights and dragons," Mummy said to Caillou. "Yes, it is," Caillou answered. Caillou and Leo smiled at each other, ready to find adventure. The two boys gobbled down their lunch. They couldn't wait to go exploring. Caillou and Leo were soon climbing to the top of a little hill. "Don't go too far, boys," said Daddy. "Look at me," shouted Leo. "I'm a brave knight. This is my sword." Caillou picked up his own stick and lifted it over his head. "I have a sword too," he yelled proudly. "This is a big, bad dragon," said Leo, hitting the tree trunk with his branch. "Yay, we're fighting the bad dragon," Caillou called back, swinging his stick. Just then, the boys heard Mummy and Daddy calling. "Caillou, Leo, come back now. We're leaving." The two friends ran back to the picnic table. All the picnic things were packed and ready to go. Caillou felt a drop of rain on his nose. Suddenly there was a crash of thunder. "A dragon!" shouted Caillou. "Let's get it," said Leo. Caillou and Leo ran ahead of the group, waving their swords. It was raining harder and harder. As the thunder dragon's roars got louder, Rosie started to cry. They found a little cave where they could all huddle inside, taking shelter from the storm. But Rosie was still afraid and couldn't stop crying. Oh, poor Rosie. "Look, Rosie," Caillou told his sister. "I'm a brave knight. Here's my sword." "Me too," Leo added quickly. "We'll fight the dragon." "Yeah," Caillou pointed his sword at the big black clouds in the sky. "We'll protect you," he said. All of a sudden the rain stopped and the sun peeked out from behind the clouds. Rosie smiled. Caillou and Leo were proud of themselves. "Hey, my brave knights," Daddy said with a smile. "Are you sure there are no more dragons around?" Leo and Caillou laughed and waved their wooden swords. "Don't worry, Daddy, we'll scare them away." Very happy. And that's the end of the story. Thanks so much for listening to the story today. We hope you enjoyed it. So you don't miss any more fantastic stories, please subscribe to our channel and we'll see you next time.
Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a story about Caillou from this storybook treasury. There are lots of stories to choose one. Let's have a look inside and see which one we're going to choose. I think let's read about the school bus. The school bus. There it is, a big yellow bus ready to take everybody to school. Every morning, Caillou watched for the big yellow school bus that drove down his street. He saw lots of children waiting for the bus. The bus stopped outside Caillou's house. Caillou saw his friend Sarah get on the bus. There she is, with her red rucksack. She said hi to the driver. The driver looked like a nice man. How Caillou wanted to ride the school bus. Caillou asked Daddy, "When can I go on the school bus?" "Let's see," said Daddy, looking at the calendar. "One more birthday and then you'll be old enough." That was such a long time. "I want to go on the school bus now," exclaimed Caillou. "We can look at the bus even if you don't ride it yet," said Daddy. "Let's go see." Next morning, Caillou and Daddy waited for the school bus. The driver opened the door. "Good morning, young man," he said to Caillou. There's the driver, and the bus has stopped right outside Caillou's house, so he can see it as it goes past. The driver's name was Mr. Washington. There he is. "This is Caillou," Daddy told him. "Next year he'll be old enough for school." "But I want to ride now," said Caillou. "Maybe you can have a practice ride tomorrow," said Mr. Washington. "I'll ask my boss if it's all right." All day, Caillou wondered if he would get his ride on the school bus. He really, really hoped the answer was yes. Caillou drew a picture. "That's me, driving the school bus," he explained. There's his mummy and Daddy, and there's another picture of the big yellow bus. In the morning, Caillou and Daddy met Sarah waiting for the bus. Here she is. She was surprised. "Are you going on the school bus, Caillou?" The bus drove up and Mr. Washington opened the door. "Come along, young man," he said. "We don't want to be late." Caillou climbed onto the bus. Caillou sat right behind Mr. Washington. He gave him the drawing that he had made. There it is. "Now, isn't that fine?" said Mr. Washington. "I'll just tape it here on the dashboard so everyone can see it." Riding the big yellow school bus was lots of fun. Stop, start, stop, start. The bus picked up more and more children. Mr. Washington drove them all to school. At the school, the children got off, all except Caillou. "Time to head home," said Mr. Washington. Caillou didn't want the ride on the school bus to end. He was having too much fun. But when he saw Daddy waiting for him, Caillou was glad to be home. There we can see Caillou's house, just around the corner, and there's his picture. Mr. Washington's kept it on his dashboard. "Did you see me, Daddy?" Daddy helped Caillou down and hugged him. "I sure did," said Daddy. "Did you remember to thank the driver?" Caillou waved to the bus as it pulled away. "Thanks for the ride, Mr. Washington," he called. "See you next year." And that's all for today. Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a Caillou story. Happy Thanksgiving. Caillou is excited. Today is Thanksgiving. The whole family is going to Grandma and Grandpa's house. Caillou's cousins, Emilio and Amanda, will be there too, and they are lots of fun to play with. Caillou is not exactly sure what Thanksgiving means, but he knows he will eat his favourite meal, turkey and mashed potatoes. Yum, yum. In the car, Caillou asks, "Mummy, what's Thanksgiving?" Thanksgiving is a very special day. We celebrate it once a year to say thank you for all the good things in our lives, Mummy explains. Caillou thinks about this. What kinds of things, he asks. It could be anything important, Daddy says, like being thankful for our great family and our good health. Caillou wonders about what is important in his life. Teddy and his toys are important. Mummy and Daddy are important. So is Rosie, even if she sometimes does things he doesn't want her to do. Grandpa opens the door. "Happy Thanksgiving," he says, bending down to hug Caillou and Rosie. Uncle Felix is already there. "Hi, Caillou. Hi, Rosie," he says, smiling at them. Caillou runs into the living room and looks around. There's nobody there. Caillou is very disappointed. He looks up at Uncle Felix and asks sadly, "Didn't Emilio and Amanda come too?" Caillou hears a little noise and he turns around. Amanda and Emilio jump out from their hiding places. "Surprise!" they shout. Caillou squeals with laughter. He is very happy to see his cousins. "Hi, Caillou," Amanda exclaims. "Do you want to play hide and seek?" "Yes," Caillou says as he jumps for joy. Later, everyone gathers around the table to eat. Grandpa asks them all what they're thankful for today. "Cousins to play with," Caillou replies excitedly when it's his turn. "Let's have dinner," says Grandma, "and happy Thanksgiving, everyone." "Happy Thanksgiving," they all answer as they fill their plates. Caillou thinks to himself, "Yum, yum. Finally, turkey and mashed potatoes." Thanks so much for listening to the story today. We hope you enjoyed it. So you don't miss any more fantastic stories, please subscribe to our channel and we'll see. Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a story from the Caillou Storybook Treasury. There are lots of stories to choose from. Today we're going to read a story called My Daycare Friends. My Daycare Friends. It was Caillou's first day at daycare and he was a little nervous. "I don't want to go, Mummy. I want to stay with you," he said. "So do I, Caillou, but I have to go to work," Mummy reminded Caillou. "And daycare can be fun. Can you hear that noise?" Laughter coming from inside piqued Caillou's curiosity, so he and Mummy went to check it out. Caillou looked around the room. There were other children and lots of toys all over the place. "Hello, I'm Anne Martin, the teacher. And you must be Caillou," said a lady with funky overalls. From his position behind his mummy, Caillou nodded. He was nervous and shy. "OK, Caillou, I have to go now," Mummy said. "No, don't go. I don't want you to go," Caillou cried. Mummy hugged Caillou and kissed his cheeks. "I'll be back. Don't be sad." Anne asked, "Do you want to meet the other children?" Caillou shook his head. He looked around and saw some blocks. He walked over and started to play with them. "Hey, those are my blocks," a sturdy red-haired boy yelled, snatching away the blocks. "I'm Clementine," a little girl said. What's your name? Caillou. That's Leo. He doesn't like to share, Clementine told Caillou. Do you want to play? I'm doing cutouts. Clementine snipped out something with her scissors. Do you like daycare? Clementine asked. I like staying at my grandma's better, Caillou replied. That's where you stay when your mum and dad are busy? She's an artist and I get to play with paints and brushes and paper and stuff, Caillou said. Clementine suddenly ran off. Clementine came back with her arms full of paper, paints and crayons. We have all that stuff here, she said. Oh boy, Caillou exclaimed. I'm going to paint a robin. I'll make cutouts of what robins eat, Clementine decided. Worms. Caillou and Clementine went to work on their projects. Leo came over to see what was going on. That's a robin, he said, looking at Caillou's painting. Could you show me how to paint like that? Sure, Leo, if you show us how to build a castle, Clementine said. Leo walked away. Leo came back, pushing a pile of blocks. A castle has to have lots of towers, Leo said. A worm has to have lots of twists, Clementine said, snipping out another worm. And a robin has to have lots of red, Caillou informed his friends. Then the three of them were on the floor building a castle together. Here, you can make the flag for the castle, Caillou said, handing Leo some paper and the scissors. We need to make this tower higher. Caillou's mummy and daddy arrived at daycare. Caillou, Mummy called out. He was having so much fun playing that he didn't hear her. Then he saw them and said happily, I'm making a castle with my friends.
Hello everybody, today we're going to read a Caillou story from his storybook Treasury. Let's see which story we're going to read. Today we should read Caillou at the Zoo. Caillou at the Zoo. Caillou and his family were going to the zoo. Caillou was excited and full of questions. Do the animals have families too? Do they live in houses like we do? Daddy smiled. You'll see. Zoe, the zookeeper, greeted them at the gate. Welcome to the zoo, she said. We're happy you're here today because lots of our animal families have had babies. Would you like to see some baby wolves first? Yes, Caillou answered. We want to see all the animals. Caillou looked and looked, but he didn't see the wolves. Where are the baby wolves? He asked. He really wanted to see them. The wolves live in a den in the ground, Zoe told him. Look over there. Can you see the baby wolves sticking their noses out? And look, there they are, just peeking out. They're tiny. But why didn't they come out? Asked Caillou. They were just born a few days ago, Zoe explained, so they want to stay with their mummy. Caillou was sad that all he could see of the baby wolves were their noses. Here's the rhino, said Zoe. Wow, Caillou was surprised. He's so big, just like a dinosaur. Rhino, dino, shouted Rosie. That's right, Rosie, said Zoe. But it's not a he, it's a she. And you know what? She's just had a baby, Zoe announced. A little rhino stepped out from behind the big one. There she is. Look, Mummy, look, Daddy. Caillou jumped up and down. A baby rhino. I think he's as cute as a button, said Zoe. Next, they went to see an animal that lived in the water. This one loves to swim and dive, Zoe told them. Do you know what it is, Caillou? It's an otter, Caillou answered proudly. They're my favourite. Where's his family? Asked Caillou. Sometimes zoo animals have people for families, explained Zoe. The zookeepers here have adopted this sea otter. We are teaching him how to take care of himself. When he gets bigger, he'll go back and live in the ocean. Zoe took everyone to see one more animal family. Caillou knew what they were right away. Look, monkeys! Caillou stared at the monkeys and they stared back at him. He started to giggle. What's so funny, Caillou? Asked Daddy. That one looks like Grandpa, answered Caillou. Daddy laughed too. You're right, he does. Mummy pointed to one. And that little guy looks a bit like you, Caillou. Do you think that's the one she meant? The little monkey climbed up a tree to get a closer look at Caillou. Hello, Caillou, said to the monkey. Maybe they could be friends. The monkey started to chatter and jump around. It looked like he wanted to play. Caillou laughed. I think he likes me. And look at him sticking out of the tree. And that's the end of the story. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a story from the Caillou Storybook Treasury. Let's take a look inside. There are lots of stories to choose from, but today we're going to read Caillou Learns to Skate. Caillou learns to skate. He shoots, he scores. Caillou loved watching the hockey game on TV. I want to be a hockey player, he told Mummy. That's great, said Mummy, but first you have to be able to skate. Daddy built a skating rink in the backyard. He cleared all the snow off the ice. Mummy helped Caillou put on new skates she'd bought for him. It was time for Caillou to learn how to skate. Daddy held Caillou high in the air as they glided around the rink. Whee! Skating was fun. Daddy set Caillou down on the ice. Now you have to stand on your own. The first thing to learn, said Mummy, is gliding forward without falling down. The ice was slippery. When Caillou pushed his feet ahead, they started to glide. Skating was easy. All of a sudden, kaboom! Caillou landed on the hard, cold ice. Ouch! That hurt. I don't like skating, said Caillou. The ice is too hard. Daddy brought a chair from the house. Here, Caillou, he said. This will help you stay up. Caillou held onto the chair as he glided along. This time he stayed on his feet. Hooray! Caillou was skating. Suddenly, Caillou's foot hit a bump on the ice. Kaboom! He landed flat on his tummy. That really hurt. Skating is too hard, he told Mummy and Daddy. I don't want to anymore. I know it isn't easy, Caillou, said Daddy, but I'm proud of you for trying. Let's try again. Caillou got up. Holding the chair tightly, he took one step and then another. He started to glide. "Look at me," shouted Caillou. "I can do it." Caillou glided around and around the rink. After a while, he let go of the chair. His feet wobbled, but he didn't fall down, and he didn't stop. "You're skating, Caillou," said Mummy. "Good for you." Mummy and Daddy stopped to have some hot chocolate. They watched Caillou while he kept on skating. He fell on the ice again and again, but he got right back up and kept trying. Soon he was not falling so much. Caillou was really skating. Mummy and Daddy held Caillou's hands and they all skated around the rink. "Now that you can skate, Caillou, it's time to get you a hockey stick," said Daddy. "A hockey stick? Wow! I'm going to be the greatest hockey player in the world."
Hello everybody, today we're going to read a Caillou story from his storybook treasury. Let's see what story we'll read today. I think we'll read The Phone Call. The Phone Call. "Mummy, Mummy," Caillou said, tugging at her arm. But Mummy didn't answer. She was busy talking on the phone. She turned to Caillou and said, "Caillou, I have work to do. Please give me a minute to get off the phone." Caillou was sad. He had something important to tell her. Mummy hung up the phone and said, "I'm sorry, Caillou. Now what did you want to tell me?" Caillou exclaimed, "It's Rosie. She tore up a book." The phone rang again and Mummy put up her hand. Caillou knew that meant he had to wait. Caillou went to his room. "I know, I'll draw Mummy a picture. She loves it when I draw for her," Caillou said. When Caillou finished his picture, he was so excited he ran to the kitchen to take it to Mummy. I wonder what he's drawn. "Look what I drew for you, Mummy," Caillou exclaimed. Mummy was still on the phone. When she hung up, she said, "Let me see," but the phone rang again. "I'm sorry, Caillou," Mummy said. "I know you've been waiting all morning. I'll be finished after this call." Caillou felt really bad. He felt like Mummy didn't care about him. He turned and walked away. Ooh. Caillou went to his room and looked around. "I'll call Mummy on my phone," he said. Look at that. Just as he finished punching the numbers, the real phone rang. "Wow," Caillou said, surprised. Caillou ran to the kitchen. "Mummy, that was me," he said, watching her hang up the phone. Mummy smiled and began to say, "No, Caillou, when the phone rang again. "Caillou, why don't you answer that for me?" Mummy said. Caillou loved to answer the phone. It made him feel grown up. "Hello," he said. "Grandma!" "Okay, Mummy, Grandma wants us to come over. Can we?" he asked. "Sure," Mummy answered. "Tell Grandma we'll be there soon." "Caillou, do you remember this puppy?" Grandma asked as they walked in. "Yes," Caillou answered, bending down to pet him. "Oh, look." "You can play with him. He would like that," Grandma said. Caillou and Rosie petted the puppy. He rolled over on his back and his paws in the air. Suddenly the phone rang and the puppy jumped up barking. He ran over to Grandma and started tugging at her skirt. Caillou and Rosie were amazed. Grandma hung up the phone and the puppy let go of her skirt. Caillou and Rosie started to laugh. "Do you believe it?" Grandma said. He does that every time I'm on the phone. Why? Caillou asked. Maybe he thinks I'm going to forget about him, Grandma answered. Sounds like someone I know, Mummy said, smiling at Caillou.
Hello everybody. Today we're going to read a story from the Caillou Storybook Treasury. Today we're going to read Where's Gilbert? Where's Gilbert? I think that might be Gilbert. Caillou was playing with Gilbert. His dinosaur was tied to a long string. Gilbert was ready to pounce, tail twitching. Ready, Gilbert? Caillou asked, and then tugged hard on the string. The dinosaur went flying through the air. Gilbert jumped up and pounced on the dinosaur, catching it proudly. "Yay, Gilbert!" cried Caillou. "You saved me from the dinosaur." Caillou continued to pull the string around the room. "Oh no, he's still chasing me. Get him, Gilbert, get him." Gilbert chased them and finally pounced on the dinosaur again. "You got him this time, Gilbert," Caillou exclaimed. "Snack time, Caillou," Daddy called from the kitchen. "You stay here, Gilbert," Caillou said, pointing his finger at Gilbert. Caillou went off to have his snack. Afterwards, Caillou called out, "Come on, Gilbert, let's play now." Caillou looked around the room and under the cushions. "Gilbert, where are you?" Caillou was upset. He had told Gilbert to stay and wait for him. "Daddy, Gilbert's gone," Caillou said. "I need him for my dinosaur game." "Well, Gilbert's not here in the kitchen," Daddy replied. Caillou went hunting for Gilbert. He checked in the basement and found his mummy. "Hi, Caillou, what's going on?" Mummy asked. "I can't find Gilbert. He was supposed to wait for me," Caillou answered. "He's probably hiding in one of the bedrooms. Let's play detective and look for him." Mummy and Caillou headed upstairs. "A good detective needs to look for clues," Mummy said. "What are clues?" Caillou asked. "A clue is anything that will help us find Gilbert, so keep your eyes wide open," Mummy replied. Caillou saw a piece of string on the floor in the hall. It was the string from his dinosaur game. "Is this a clue, Mummy?" "That's a very good clue," Mummy said. The string was between two bedrooms. So Caillou picked one and went in to look for Gilbert. In his parents' room, Caillou looked under the bed, then under the chair and all around the room. "He's not here, Mummy," Caillou said. "That leaves your room, Caillou," Mummy said. "My room!" Caillou cried. Looking around his room, Caillou did not see Gilbert. "Gilbert, come here," he said. Caillou looked under the bed and found his dinosaur. "Another clue, Mummy," he said triumphantly. "You are a good detective, Caillou," Mummy said. Caillou squeezed the dinosaur and it made a squeaky roar. Mummy and Caillou heard a quiet meow. Caillou pulled back the covers on his bed. "Gilbert, I found him," he cried, pulling the sleepy cat into his arms. That's the end of the story. Thanks so much for listening to the story today. We hope you enjoyed it. So you don't miss any more fantastic stories, please subscribe to our channel and we'll see you next time.